and gentlemen, welcome to the Goose Chasing podcast. This Goose Chasing podcast is brought to you by TAGNBRAG Productions. We are also brought to you by TNB Apparel. Visit our website at www.tagnbrag.co for weekly new apparel, and TNB Land Management. There's better hunting in your future. Let's build a management plan together. Guys, this is a new podcast. We're finally getting to it. It's been years, I think, in the making, and we're finally getting serious. This podcast is called Goose Chasing, brought to you by David and Dean Girizzo from TAGNBRAG. Dino, Goose Chasing? I mean,
I don't know why that name, when we talked about naming our podcast, it just somehow that name clicked. But we've grown up on a roller coaster ride of hunting and different hunting strategies, tactics. We've seen kind of the industry go from what we used to do is drive deer,
hunt animals,
hunt camp, like pile people into hunt camp. And yeah, honestly,
put things on the meat pole.
If it was brown, it was down. And it was a blast. It got us into the sport.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, it grew our passion to where it is right now. I mean, that's where it all started. So when you go back and look at the journey, that's kind of the best part of it, seeing the evolution of kind of how we've gone through hunting, through the last 20 years.
Yeah.
But through hunting and life itself, we've been on our fair share of goose chases. And that name is kind of, some of it's got some humor to it, but it seemed fitting for us and how we kind of started this whole thing, how we kind of started our hunting career. And not only chasing game, but chasing a dream. Yeah,
it's actually very fitting, I think, because I remember back in the days when we used to, be hunting with Dad and Uncle Jay, and there was always a goose chase. We were always a goose chase, whether it was tracking a deer, whether it was hunting with the crew and targeting. We were kind of targeting like specific areas at that point. That we really weren't hunting like specific deer per se. But there was always some kind of a goose chase, and I think that translates, like you said, to life, not just our life, but everybody's life in general. We live in America, the land of the opportunity, and we've been fortunate enough to have a lot of support behind us and people that have backed us chasing our dream, and TAGNBRAG has been a goose chase. That's when it comes down to it, it's been a goose chase. And Dean and I are always, now we live in two different states, but that certainly hasn't. I think in some cases it's brought us closer together. We certainly stay connected more or less on a daily basis, and we're always on the phone, and we're always telling old stories and literally making ourselves crack up laughing. And it always reverts back to that. Oh, that was a goose chase.
Yeah,
like that was,
it's the same.
So part of this podcast for us is to, for Dean and I, like solely to just reconnect and be able to be authentic versions of ourselves together. And when we do that and we allow other people to see it and we allow other people in, I think that's when we've had our most success. So for us, it's kind of a tool to, number one, it's to keep us both connected.
Yep.
Ultimately. But for you guys, for the viewer, it's to let you in on some of the backstories and some of the craziness, the good, the bad, and the ugly outside of what we document for you in our hunting lifestyle. And just bring those stories to light. We've kind of viewed this whole journey as it's certainly not just benefiting ourselves. Obviously, we're chasing our dream, but it's what other people can learn from some of our mishaps and from some of our successes. You just never know. And we get messages all the time that are extremely heartfelt and that are, motivating to us in the impact that we've been able to have on other people. It's kind of weird. Two kids that grew up hunting like a 40-acre chunk in Western New York, not a hunting coveted state,
no.
not somewhere where you would, save your money to go for that like hunting like dream trip of a lifetime and stuff. And what's transpired from that into what it is now, it's, I don't know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we want to bring more of that to life. We want to bring more of that to you guys, and this is the avenue that we've kind of chosen to do it. And so we're excited about it. I know I'm looking forward to bringing the stories to light every week and just seeing what comes of it.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, I mean, obviously we're just normal guys,
Yep.
you know, hunting the way we like to hunt, and there's so many different ways to do it. And I think the cool thing is the way we've kind of almost taught ourselves everything from getting through this industry to hunting, you know, and it's
filming.
Obviously, Dad, Uncle Jay, Grandpa, they've taught us certain ways, and back at them, we've taught them certain things as well. But it's kind of just growing up and learning as you go. And in this industry and the state of this industry, how it kind of is, everyone's so quick to judge everybody on how they do things. And the important thing is that we're all just guys going out there to hunt. There's so many different ways to do it. The point is to do it all together and realize that there's not just one way. There's not just one right way. And that's the same. That's not only just for hunting. That's for life and the way we kind of came up in this industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that because it's true. We always talk about like hunting is a band of brothers, and anymore, man, I feel like we're combating ourselves. You know, the division within. You know, the hunting industry is a powerful place. It's a place of like-minded people, or so you would think for the most part. But man, the competition that has evolved from all of this is pretty insane, and it's kind of hurtful almost to a certain degree. You know, for us, I mean, we've put ourselves in this position, and the more you put yourself out there, obviously the more feedback you're going to get, negative and positive, and some of that is, you know, controlling those emotions within, even when you're getting that type of feedback, whether it is good, bad, or indifferent. But man, I mean, so much of why we started Tag and Brag was to enhance the sport, to try and, you know, to try and give it a better name, I guess, or just make it be known by more people than just the ones that already enjoy it, because I think our sport needs more people involved, more new people coming in, just the influx of new and old, out with the old, in with the new, and we need new generations of people that are enjoying this. And we, as the sport has evolved, and specifically, I guess we talk about the whitetail side of things because that's kind of what we're ingrained in, but it's become so much of like a big buck, like you got to shoot the biggest and you got to shoot the best, or at least that's what it feels like. And when we grew up, like you said, if it was brown, it was down. We celebrated the harvest, and really we celebrated the chase first and foremost.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we were there for.
Yeah.
Like, obviously we wanted to bring home the bacon,
right,
but if we didn't, we were having fun regardless.
Yeah.
And, I feel like that's lost a little bit. But once again, out with the old, in with the new. The new part of that is hunting, and that the lifestyle, I think, is enjoyed 365 a lot more. Whereas, when we were growing up, it was like we were anticipating the hunting season so much because that was the only time we really enjoyed it. We didn't put a ton of work in outside of the specific season.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, I think the industry's almost gotten political. And I go back to, there's just so many ways to do it that everyone's going to have an opinion about it. And not to mention, you go through that, and I say political because every state is so different
in the way they approach it.
That causes people to judge other people on how they hunt based on the other state's regulations, honestly.
Right.
And it's like you're knocking the hunter. Well, every state is different. Like, knock the state if you're really that
right.
If you're really that pissed about it. But the point is that there's not one way to do it. You might agree with one thing, someone might agree with another. If it's legal, and I just don't understand the whole bringing people down, bashing them, telling them you shouldn't have done it that way. It's got to be done this way. That's not the point. The point is to get outdoors, enjoy yourself with family, friends, whoever you do it with, and create create memories. It's something we do to get away from political crap, from life and like the everyday stuff. So why are we bringing that into this sport? I just don't get it.
Yeah. Well, it kind of funnels us right into a pretty good topic for today to talk about. And we just had a video that went pretty viral, and it went viral because it created a lot of controversy for a number of different reasons. Last year, Dean, we have some property to hunt in Southern Ohio, and we went down there a couple times. I mean, it's a 2.5 hour drive for us.
Yep.
And there's no dwelling on the property. There's really nowhere anywhere in the vicinity to stay.
No.
Other than if you want to shack up in your vehicle. So for us, it's a great property to hunt. It's different than we hunt up in New York or in Northeast Ohio or really anywhere, because the terrain, especially for whitetail hunting, is so steep. I mean, it's very, very hilly. So it's definitely a different hunt, and that's something that we love to do. Seeing different parts of the country, different properties, different areas, and just figuring out a completely different chunk of land than you're used to is part of the fun.
Yeah.
And for us anyway, it's part of it. So we go down there a couple times. We set up some cameras. We're in Ohio, so you can supplemental feed all year long.
Yep.
And call it baiting, call it feeding, whatever you want to call it. I mean, the baiting.
I honestly hate that word.
The baiting thing is, I guess it is what it is. Like, it is what it is. But, there's such a negative connotation now, and people throw that word around like it's, as soon as you hear it, it's negative. Like, you're not like, oh, they're feeding deer, or, it's supplemental feed that's actually good for the herd.
Yep.
And obviously in Ohio, it's legal to hunt over that type of thing. So the video caught a lot of controversy basically because of the baiting aspect of it.
Right.
And your shot, I don't think was your most proud shot, but
no, it wasn't.
I mean,
but I'm a hunter, and
but you're a hunter, and
it's not going to be the last shot that's not perfect of mine.
Right. And it was a bow hunt nonetheless. So, I mean, it was a 40 plus yard shot.
Yep.
It was late in the season. We had deer all over us, and I guess I'm kind of going down the excuse train, but I guess it's more for the haters on this video that literally nitpicked it for any little negative thing, any little thing that went wrong throughout the hunt or went wrong in their eyes. And, the fascinating thing to me in the whole hunt was Dean shot the deer dropped, and he ended up rolling, going down a hill and losing his rack, like more or less on impact. I mean, it was January 16th or 19th of 2021. So, we're in the realm of, well, it was 2022. Sorry. Yeah. We're in the realm of that happening. So that was like the fascinating thing to me, because I've never seen anything like that before in the whitetail woods. Everything else was done and documented legally. So I just wasn't thinking of anything negative outside of that.
No.
But the video caught a lot of flack, and I think all of the negative stuff aside, there was a lot of people that supported the hunt, how it was done, the tactics used, and stuff like that. But I guess the shameful part of, call it this hunting industry, or more than the hunting industry, I think it's just the hunting community as a whole, is the fact that, man, people, I'm glad it happened to us, because we've got relatively thick skin. We could take the heat.
Well, yeah,
but to a new hunter, they're not going to be proud of any of their hunting aspects again. I wouldn't be.
Right.
I mean, with some of the feedback on this video, I wouldn't be proud of it.
Yeah, and if someone was so-called proud of it, most people are too afraid to post something like that and make it public, or they're going to hide it some way because they're too afraid of the flack that it's going to get.
Yeah.
But we got obviously talk for probably 3 days about this whole thing. And the funny thing is I don't want to speak for Dave, but we're not really for or against quote unquote baiting or feeding deer. Honestly, if you would ask me, I would probably prefer it not be legal, honestly, because I mean, there's so many pluses and minuses to both sides of it. So we could go, like I said, we could talk for days about this. We are kind of our home turf, if you will, a home farm we've grown up on is New York, and you can't do anything up there. You can't put mineral out. You can't bait. So we grew up, baiting was not even in our realm of,
Yeah, it wasn't even a thing.
like feeding deer. It was just, we didn't even think about doing it. Cause you couldn't. So most of our hunting is done without the aid of it. So, the funny thing is we're willing to post stuff like that because, like you said, we have thick skin and we'll take it. But I'm not really for or against it. We've just done both and have an open mind of the challenges of hunting with it and hunting without it.
The benefits and the challenges of hunting with it
because
and
there's both. But it is so funny to me how most of the people for starters that are against it, they can't do it in their state.
Right.
I figured that out. That's the most people that are going to bash it. It's because they can't do it.
Or they're like public land hunters, and there's nothing wrong with that either.
No,
like,
that's great.
We haven't, mind you, we have not grown up hunting public land. We're starting to because it's another different challenge, and it's just another bucket list thing that as we grow as hunters, we want to do. But obviously on public land, you can't supplemental feed on public land, nor would you, because it's public land.
Right.
But that's how you hunt, and we have access to private land. If you had access to that private land, you can't tell me that you would just go sit on it and hope for the best.
Well, not if it's illegal.
Right.
People, I've even given people, giving it back to them a little bit, especially on YouTube. We have so many of these comments that people just bash the crap out of us, and other people actually chime in too and say, you know what, you just can't bait in your state or whatever, so that's why you're going to knock against it. And people will come back and say, I don't care if it's legal or not, I still wouldn't do it. You would think a little bit differently about that if every single neighbor of yours had bait piles out and you're seeing a difference in your deer movement and everything like that.
Or you're not seeing any deer movement.
Yeah. The point is I can't stand people who knock it so bad that one are not allowed to do it or have never done it.
Right.
Never done it.
Right.
I mean, we talked about this the other day. I mean, it's like, and I've heard people do this before, but it's like people, you ask them if they like sushi and they're like, that's disgusting. No, absolutely. I won't have sushi. And then you're like, have you ever had it? And they're like, no, I've never had it. That's disgusting. I would never try sushi. That's disgusting. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And I've actually heard people say that, and then they'll try sushi, and now they're like, yeah, I'm going out for sushi next week. Like, once a week you do it. I love it.
You're
It's
right.
like, geez, oh, man. But, the baiting thing, it's so crazy. It's amazing to me that people think when you put food out for deer, they think that all of their survival instincts, all their senses just go right out the door.
Right.
Like it's literally like a bug in a bug zapper, tractor beam. Like they're just like, and they freaking...
and the arrows are going to just find their perfect mark.
Perfect mark. It's a still target. No one's going to duck. Nothing's going to happen. No sounds are going to be made. And that deer is going to literally just walk a straight line into that bait pile, and they're just like, corn. I gotta have it.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters. It's so crazy to me. I mean, we've been hunting New York since we were 5-6 years old. With Dad or Uncle Jeffrey.
Right.
Obviously, legally, when we were able to carry a firearm or a bow. We've been hunting Ohio for less time than that. I've shot 4 bucks in Ohio in my life. And people are going to knock us and say, oh, you can just go put out a bait pile, and they'll just walk right in and shoot. Yeah, it's so easy. That's real tough. You can shoot whatever you want.
Right.
It's just crazy. It's got its own set of challenges. These deer, number one, the big deer, they learn bait piles because a lot of people have them out, and a lot of times they'll only use them at night. They have a completely different demeanor coming into them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're going to come in downwind, which means most of the time they're going to circle downwind of you.
Right.
It's a whole It's got a whole set of challenges, and filming it is a whole nother. It's a whole
right.
nother.
Well, and if you're talking about late season specifically, you're talking about having to beat likely deer in the double digits. So you're talking about 20 plus eyes and 10 plus noses,
right,
that are all better than yours.
Yeah.
That you have to beat in order to make this happen. So the whole fish in a barrel thing is fucking bullshit. If you ask me,
it's still dumb.
That comment. And
it's just ignorant. It's just you don't know. You've never done it.
Well, yeah, exactly. It shows the lack of experience.
Yeah.
It shows, it's a keyboard warrior just being a keyboard warrior, and that's all fine and good, but it's just not. It's just not that. It's just not how it is. Like you said, each one possesses its challenges, and it possesses its. You're gonna see more deer if you're putting bait out, if you're putting corn out.
You're also going to spook more deer.
Right, exactly.
It's all given, though.
Well, and think about it. These deer are coming in at last light, or closer to dark. They're obviously, when shooting light is, once legal light, or once it hits that legal light threshold, half hour after daylight, or a half hour after sunset in Ohio, it's not like the deer are like, oh, well, let me let you get out of the stand and get back to your vehicle, and then we'll come back.
Yeah.
Now you got to figure out how to get in and out still undetected. You can't do that very many times without alerting the herd.
No.
I mean, you just can't.
No.
The local herd anyway. So there is just a lot of.
That's why we don't use it a lot. I mean, this particular hunt, it worked out because that was our second time hunting that spot.
Yeah.
Second time. And not to mention, I go back to other people's comments too. They're like, everyone's like, learn the deer, do your scouting, hunt them on their own turf, hunt trails, find the bedding areas, like do all this stuff. Like you didn't put the work in. Like that's bullshit.
Right.
We hunt that same property in October, November, and we don't put food out. And that's Ohio. And everyone around us is probably doing that. I don't know how many hunters are around us down there, but they're doing it. We don't do it like that because we do like that challenge, and the deer are there. There's oak trees, there's a bunch of cover, and we've hunted the deer like that. That's how we do it. That's our only spot to hunt in that area. And if you go down there at the end of December or in January, you might catch a small doe group here and there bedding on that property, but the deer are gone. Late season, when you get cold temps and the food all changes, the browse is gone, the acorns, the nuts, they're all gone. Those deer are moving. So I don't care how much crap you want to give someone, we can scour that property. I can frickin' lick branches and frickin' turn over leaves and call myself the ultimate scouter, and I know these deer like crazy. They're not there. So I can hang a stand on a trail there in January. I am not an efficient hunter. I'm not going to see deer.
Right.
They're gone, especially the bucks. Like, he's gone. So down in that specific area, that's my area to hunt. If I want to put food there to try to draw deer back to that property, that in itself is hard to do, but that's what we're doing. Like, you can't tell me, oh, go put your homework in and go find the deer. I can't do it right there because I'm surrounded by private land, and I don't have permission on those properties.
Right.
I don't have permission to go hunt a mile from there where the deer might be. There's not a lot of ag down there. There's a couple cornfields like a mile away. It's not even that big.
Here and there, yeah.
So the deer, like they do in New York, they almost migrate and they herd up, yard up, whatever you want to call it, and they move late season. So again, it's about creating an opportunity
100%
to hunt those deer. You can tell me all I want, be a better hunter, put your work in. You can go down to that property and put as much work in as you can. You won't kill a big buck in January because he's not going to be there because that's not where they are in January. That specific property.
But using the legal tactics that Ohio allows you, that is being a good hunter.
Yeah.
That is maximizing your time, your money, and your efforts in order to put yourself in an opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't all for show.
No.
We film and we document this stuff because we eat sleep, live, and breathe the hunting lifestyle. And we want to bring that to other people, and we want to show them the values of the lifestyle. It ain't for the freaking glamour.
No.
It ain't for the gram. I don't give a shit.
No.
Like, I don't care. We would be doing it without the camera. You know,
Right.
we would be going down there. We would be putting feet out.
Not to mention, throw 50, 100 pounds on your back and
Yeah.
walk down a small mountain.
Yeah.
Or up it.
A quarter
'cause that's
mile.
all. There's no flat ground down there. Where we're
Right.
hunting.
It's down and
So
up.
we're beating the hell out of ourselves just getting feed to where we need to get it, which is another whole thing. I don't care who you are. You're not just going to put a corn pile out in the woods
Yeah,
and
just-
going to sit on it and be like, here comes the big deer.
Right. You're not dumping it anywhere.
If
It's
we've
just-
figured out where it needs to be to even give us a chance to hunt a buck in daylight.
100%.
And people are like, oh, I wonder why he was there with all that food out and snow and like that. If we've already tried it. If it was in a different spot, he wouldn't have been there.
Right.
So that was, we were using bait, food, as our aid, as our tool, but we put the homework in to make that
Right.
to make that
Well,
hunt
we coulda
happen.
if we wanted to make it easier on ourselves, the corn pile would have been dumped about
Right where the
300 yards up the hill, where
Not-
we didn't
yeah.
have to freaking
But-
get down and up.
But
and,
we knew that wasn't going to work.
Right.
And most people, 99% of people, wouldn't have gone down to put it where we were. Because
Right.
they're not going to beat the heck out of their body to go carry it down there, wipe
they
out.
know where it needs to be.
Yes. So
And then after the shot, we literally
yeah.
skinned, quartered, and packed that thing out on our backs in the freaking dark. So anybody that would
All the way up the mountain.
all the way up, it was uphill 100% of the way.
Yeah.
The whole hill, mountain, whatever you want to call it, in southern Ohio, it was uphill
And-
the whole way.
No one would have done that.
So if all the people that are like, that was easy, fish in a barrel, all this shit, I welcome you. I'll film it. I said that. I've commented back to people all over that video. I will film you. I'll hang the fucking stand. I'll put the corn out and I'll film you. It's just after you're taking care of the mess and you got to make the shot.
Yep.
When there's 12 deer at the base of your tree and people are knocking you for, why don't you get in the gym? It looked like it was hard for you to pull the bow back. Dude, look at the 6 deer that are right under the fucking tree stand.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
It
you
was-
can't
meanwhile,
yank that thing back like freaking Robin Hood and just
yeah.
let it fly.
Meanwhile, it's dead quiet. And we
just
said,
like-
I'm like, if deer come up behind us or get underneath it, we're screwed. We're screwed.
They
And
were.
we beat them.
That's why that deer came in and he was probably eating for what, 25 minutes, close to 30 minutes.
Yeah, we
because
couldn't-
there was 3 doe that came down the hill right next to us and were literally staged up right under the tree, and we're in XOPs that are
12.
10,
not
12
high.
feet off the ground,
Not
maybe.
not to mention we're on the side hill, so the deer that are behind us or
Like
right
eye
above
level,
us are
yeah.
literally like 5 yards from us.
Yeah, exactly.
So you couldn't move a muscle. But people just don't see that. They just see put bait out and deer come.
Yeah.
They're all their survival skills go.
They see a
go out the
1.5
window.
minute video online and they want to unravel all their negative feedback or unravel all their like insecurities, I guess, out onto that video. And
Yeah.
I guess that's when it comes down to it, like, we celebrated the hunt. Like, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that moment. I'm proud as hell. That's one of my favorite moments over the last couple years of the two of us hunting together in a tree.
Oh, that
Because
was amazing.
The other thing is, we got down there at like 10:30 in the morning. We left here, drove 2.5 hours.
Yep.
We had to shovel the plow wash out so we could just pull off the road behind the gate.
Yep.
So we took another half hour, 45 minutes just shoveling shit. Now
Yep.
we're sweating our ass off. We had to literally completely, we had to unclothe all that, like take a half-ass, scent rub shower down
Yeah.
with field foam and all that other stuff, and then go down and hunt. We got in the stand before noon. And I think at that point, sunset had to be after 5, pretty well after 5:30.
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
5:40,
we were
somewhere there.
we packed sandwiches, and for late season, we were planning, and we did essentially not an all day sit, but a 2/3 day sit.
Oh yeah.
Because we had to, because this deer was unpredictable. We were in his bed, and that's one of the to go back to your other point, like scouting and finding the spot where we needed to be. Like, we were as close as we could be to his bed without like
without spooking them to get in there and I wouldn't say anyone wouldn't have spooked them. We had to do it a strategic way to get it down in there.
But, exactly. We had to do it a strategic way, and we had to get in there. It wasn't like you could just go walking in there any random time, because that deer would show up at 1:30 in the afternoon. I remember we were at ATA last year, and it was freezing cold, and there was a foot of snow on the ground, and that deer showed up at 1:30. We're like walking the aisles at ATA. We open our phones up and we're like,
oh my gosh,
he's there.
Yeah,
he's friggin' there.
But again, it's where it was. And if you would show someone the property, or pull in to where we pull in to get into that property, and tell someone, go put a bait pile out and go kill a deer, let alone but go kill a good buck, they're never gonna go put it where we did.
Probably not.
Not off the bat.
No.
After a couple years or whatever of doing it, they're going to be like, okay, this isn't working, which is what we did.
Right.
Learn from our hunting. And then we adjusted and made it successful. But again, it just goes back to it. We would have never had that opportunity on that property without putting feed down.
No.
And that's just, it's legal, and that's what it is. We got to the point in the year, we have some spots up here in northeast Ohio. We didn't have a certain deer that we felt was patternable enough to get on. So you got to go make something happen. Yeah. And that's exactly what we did. That's exactly what we did. But I mean, you go back to the whole baiting thing. It also can help some people get into the sport.
100%.
I mean, if you're taking a kid out, so it doesn't have to be a kid, someone new that's into hunting, and you're going to put them in a blind or put them in a tree stand or sit with them that you have some food out with, and they start seeing some deer and they feel the excitement of that, you could hook them on that.
Oh my God, yeah.
As opposed to putting them in a tree where they could sit for 2 days and not see anything, and they're like, well, this is stupid.
Yeah, and you just tell them, oh, that's what this is. It's just kind of what this is all about.
Which sometimes it is. Doesn't matter where you're hunting. Even if you're sitting on bait. We've sat plenty of times and never seen a deer. It doesn't happen every time.
Right.
But again, like, it gives even people that work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, they're avid outdoorsmen or women. They love the woods. Like, if you own 4 or 5 acres of land and you want to go put a blind and some feed behind your house,
and you can walk out your back door and hunt,
that allows you to be able to do that.
America, baby.
Yeah.
God bless.
Okay, your hunt camp, great. That's not your main spot to hunt. You hunt on no bait, and you got 80 acres. Maybe it's an hour and 20 minutes away that you can only hunt on 2 Saturdays a month.
Right.
Well, everyone's busy. You got family. You got work. Everything. This allows you to be able to. Yeah, it's not your perfect scenario, but you can get in the woods and see some deer and enjoy the great outdoors right behind your house. But if you weren't able to do that, like, yeah, you could still go sit behind your house. You might not see the deer. It just gives some excitement to the sport, can get new people into it, and it can get people out there that don't have the opportunity to live on 100 acres or whatever it is. And there's so many benefits. Again, I understand if the choice is there and the deer are there, we're not hunting on, we're not using it, because it's honestly, sometimes it's a pain in the butt. It is. It's got its challenges.
Oh, to tend to all of it, for sure.
Yeah, but the point is to recognize when it's useful to use it.
Right.
If it's, obviously, it goes back to being legal. It's got to be legal, but when it's useful to use it, and having an open mind for the people that do use it.
Right. Well, I mean, it goes back to what we kind of first started to talk about, and it really is, we are all, as hunters, we are all in this together. We have so much on the outside that is combating us. My point is, like, we're all in this together, and if I do something as a hunter one way and somebody else does it as a hunter another way, but they're happy doing it, and whether they have success or not, they're having fun, they're enjoying the sport, and maybe they're bringing somebody else along and getting them involved, maybe they're not, but if they're enjoying it, like, who the hell am I to bash what they've done, how they've done it, and like, just, I don't know, just completely demoralize or just throw shade. It's like, okay, put me in a perfect vacuum. Put me in, like, in order for us to appease your dumbass, like, put me in your perfect scenario. You know, there was a couple people on there that were drawing up scenarios. Come onto public land and walk in a mile and a half and and it's like, okay. I did that this year.
Yeah.
In Tennessee, I did that. I spent days doing that in Tennessee.
Yeah.
I XOP on my back with camera equipment. It's all documented. Go to YouTube and watch it. Walking in up close to a mile, hanging my stand, getting all my shit set up, sitting in the freaking stand for hours at a time, literally not seeing a deer, and packing it all up, putting it on my back, and walking out. And you know what? At the end of it, I'm walking out under the moonlight, thanking God for that opportunity.
Yeah, right.
Thanking God for the opportunity that he made me a hunter. And I just, like, whether I saw a deer or not, or whether I was successful or not out there in that moment, I was thankful for the opportunity just to be out there. And
you created a new experience, a new memory.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it was successful or not. You created a new experience where you're like, I did that, and it was. And I learned something.
You kind of opened a page. You turned a page, or like opened a different chapter in your hunting career. Yeah. Now you can build on that. Like in the coming weeks when I'm down in Tennessee, I'm gonna go walk that same piece of public land to learn it more now, so that when I go back in there next year, I can go back in there and maybe I'm hiking a little farther and maybe I'm spending a little bit more time, but I see a damn deer. Yeah. That's with everything that we've accomplished in this hunting world. Like, I've taken it back to that bare bone of like, yeah, I want to just go, like, my next goal is literally put myself on deer within bow range, on deer, on that piece of public land. And that's what I'm going to deem as my success in the short term. What's wrong with that? Am I a bitch?
It's your own standard.
Because I haven't killed one yet on public land?
Yeah,
am I like any less of a hunter now? I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying, and I got a shit ton. I got a lot of hunting experience.
Yeah.
But I'm put, like, that's elementary level on public land, I guess. But I'm willing to do that
because I want learning, evolving.
It's about evolving as a
yourself.
Hunter. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, but again, it goes back to there's just so many styles, and you know, you could open up a whole nother book just on food plots, because the same people that were, you know, bitching about baiting, they're like, it's the same thing as a food plot, this and that. It's like, do you know what freaking work I kicked my ass for to grow that thing? Right. And not to mention, you go. No one's gonna tell you anything. You go grow a food plot,
right?
And tell me how successful you are doing it. Just tell me how green and lush, or how much grain you grow the first year. Tell me how well that goes. Right. It's
exactly.
But again, you create your own experience, you set your own standard, and if it's something different than someone else's standard,
tip your hat to them.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Tip your freaking hat to them. If somebody posts a picture of a freaking 4-point, it's their first buck with a bow or first deer with a bow online.
They're posting it because they're proud of it.
Tip your freaking hat. If you're a hunter, tip your damn hat to them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on. Like that type of shit infuriates me, and I have very little tolerance for it. Once again, I'm glad all these keyboard warriors got their anger out on us, because we'll take it. We'll take it for other people, and we'll take it for ourselves, and we'll roll with it. But this is not going to help build the sport. No. It's not going to help get people more involved. If people got to feel like they've got to be, you know, the upper echelon of hunter as soon as they come in, otherwise they're not going to get the recognition from another fellow hunter that's standing next to them, they're not going to do it anymore.
No.
And if they don't do it anymore, that's bad for all of us.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what else to say.
Trying to promote the sport. We're trying to get more people to do it. I mean, it's
just like, what happened to just being kind?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Like,
that's a whole. If you got to go out of your way to put someone down or try to make them feel, I'm not even talking about just hunting, just life in general. If you got to go out of your way,
right, to
try to hurt someone or just put them down, just for your own temporary, make yourself feel a little bit better. I don't know.
You got to feel bad for people like that. Honestly, you got to just like pray. You know, it sounds cliche and kind of stupid, but you got to kind of pray for people like that because they're obviously battling far more than they're you know, outputting online or whatever. And obviously social media has played a role in that. You can say whatever the fuck you want and you can just get away with it because you don't have to face anyone.
Right.
You don't have you exactly. Can literally say it and walk away. You don't have to
I felt good now because I typed that.
Right. Now I make myself feel a little bit better, but it's like people also don't give credit to the power of words.
No.
And good, bad, or indifferent, the power that those hold. And, you know, there's a lot of people that battle mental health issues. I don't know that I have any like mental health issues, but I battle like mentally, you know, the way that I look at and treat myself sometimes. Yeah. It's not perfect. Like
I'm sure everybody does to an extent.
Yeah. And so you never know what's going to trip somebody's trigger to in a bad way, I guess.
Yeah.
Or you also don't know what can trip somebody's trigger in a good way.
Yeah.
Like a simple compliment can go a long, long way.
Yeah.
I mean,
honestly, it's the positive comments that we get that give me fuel on a daily basis. When you're kind of like not questioning what you're doing, but like when you're just like, man, I don't have the full motivation today. Like, is what I'm doing worth it? Or like, is it making the impact that I want it to make? And then you get a couple comments from people that are like, you guys changed my life. You guys, you know, keep doing what you're doing. This is such a light in the world, this and that. And you're just like, yes, that's why. That's why I do it right there. If I can affect someone in a positive way enough to make them pursue something, whether it's hunting or whatever it is in life, pursue it with a little more positive energy and a little more motivation. I'm like, that's the win.
Dude, I mean,
that's the win.
The other day we got a message from this kid. I think he was from Mississippi or something, but last year he was jumping off of a boat into the Mississippi River and he broke his neck. Initially paralyzed from the neck down. And now he has gotten strong enough to be able to walk again. But while he was in his hospital bed, he literally said that our videos are part of what helped get him through and part of what helped motivate him to say, I'm going to hunt again. And he does now. Dude, I was literally crying.
Yeah, no.
I was literally crying.
Yeah.
Because to think about that, you're talking about somebody that is broken. They have literally essentially had their whole life taken away from them in an instant. And they used us as a small crutch to help. I'm just getting emotional right now just thinking about it because it's just, I don't know, that part of it for me. And we messaged him back and I'd said, I'm like, dude, like, you have no idea what this has done for me. Like, because he's at the end of his message, he said, I don't really know why I'm writing this to you, but I just needed to tell you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude,
thank you.
Thank you. Like, literally, thank you. You're writing this to me because something told you that this was going to make
you needed to hear it,
us feel better.
Yep.
And it did.
Yeah.
Life-changing for me and for us. And you want to talk about motivation or inspiration to keep going?
Yeah. My
Holy
goodness.
shit.
Yeah. And then it's just, again, you go back to the ladder and then you got people that are doing the opposite.
Well, people that are getting all bent out of shape over a freaking corn pile. It's like life, dude.
Yeah, life.
There's more important things in life.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's one thing to think something. It's a whole nother thing where you're actually telling yourself, I got to type something back to these people so they know it.
Right.
I mean,
and then it's a whole nother thing to actually do that and hit send.
I mean, don't get me wrong, and I actually criticize myself for it, but I'll watch it. It doesn't have to be hunting. I'll watch any video and I'll be like, that sucked or something like that. The last thing I'm thinking about doing is telling those people that.
That sucks. Yeah.
What
does that do?
Spread some good in this world. Spread some love.
Yeah, joy, peace, happiness, love. I mean, spread it.
It's not just for those people. It's for yourself too.
Right.
You don't know what you'll feel better.
Oh my God, yeah.
Doing
and you
that.
know what? Better things will happen to you.
Yeah.
Because of it.
Yeah.
100%. It's the law of attraction.
It really is.
Shit works.
Couldn't agree more.
But I guess summarizing that whole hunt, that was the ultimate goose chase, because laying out the story, like, we had one day to hunt. Dean was leaving for Florida for a wedding at 8 in the morning the next morning.
Yep.
So we went down there knowing we had the strong potential to put ourselves in the doghouse.
Yeah, like if we shoot something, this is not going to be, it's going to be good.
It's going to be great, but it's also going to be...
Shit's going to hit the fan.
And it did.
It did.
I mean, and you shot that deer relatively early, and...
Yeah, it might have been like
4:30 maybe? Yeah. So, but by the time we did the recovery, we had to go all the way back up, unload most of our stuff, get the stuff that we were going to use to pack them out, and then by the time we got back down to them, it was dark.
Yeah, it was dark.
And it was probably a 2.5 to 3 hour process between getting back down there, skinning them, quartering them, bagging them up, getting them in the packs that we had, and
then looking up the hill in the dark saying,
damn it,
let's
all the while we filmed the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
Like, it was just insane.
I mean, not too many people are quartering and packing out whitetail. Like, you just don't hear about that. But honestly, we didn't have a 4-wheeler down there. If we did, I don't think it would have mattered, because if you can't drive it.
You're wrecking yourself in a 4-wheeler trying to get a deer out of there.
You can't go down this hill, and there's too much it wouldn't have worked anyway. But we really didn't have a choice. And the cool thing was, we kind of knew that where we were hunting, we knew, like, this is if we want to kill a buck, we have to be here, and we also have to know the fact that this is going to be tough.
This is going to be
if
hard.
we get them.
Oh yeah.
But that's kind of the cool thing. We knew what we were getting in.
Yeah. If we welcomed it.
If we wanted it to be easy, we would have hunted, like you said, up by the truck, by the top of the hill, and said,
maybe seen a fork or a spike or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, but you put yourself in the gauntlet and you accept the challenges, and I mean, dude,
we'll look at the I mean, yeah, that mount and everything forever. I'll be like, that was one of the coolest hunts we've ever been on, just because of the whole story surrounding it.
Yeah.
And what we did.
And what we did to accomplish it. And I mean, I felt like we documented it pretty well. You know, a lot of those comments were coming on a 1.5-minute version of that hunt. So
sure.
You couldn't really grasp, I guess, the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
kind of going back to that, the cool thing is a couple people, we try to respond to everyone on YouTube, or anywhere. And a couple people, I said, if you really want to know who we are as hunters and what we do, go watch some more of our videos. And I think a couple people did, and they kind of came back and said, you know what, like, I judged you guys based off a 30-second video. It wasn't fair. Don't necessarily agree with this portion of it or whatever, which is totally fine. Respect. But I have a new outlook on you guys and how you do things. And I'm like, you know what? Respect to you for actually doing that. Because most people would have just been like, that's who they are. That's what they, whatever. And I get it. You only have 30-second video. That was the clip. But the hunt that we posted got the same kind of.
It did.
And you could kind of see the whole backstory of it. So, but cool that some people were able to go back and actually do that, because that's our hunting focus is not corn piles and.
No, that's not our hunting focus. And the other thing too is, we document it, we share it. That's just what we do. We're not going to hide anything. There's probably a lot of other hunting shows that y'all watch out there that are a little bit different. I'm sure there's a few corn piles sitting, behind or nearby that you don't see on camera. Yeah. And you know what? That's all fine and good too, if that's how you want to do it, I guess. I just don't necessarily agree with hiding any way that you're hunting, because
if it's legal, I'll knock the crap out of baiting if you're doing it and it's not legal, because now you're giving yourself an advantage that no one else can have, and that's or they can if they want to, but you're putting yourself at a obviously lot of risk. But yeah, I think that's a thing that we've taken the most pride in, is we've been willing to show everything black and white. We've been able to we've showed our mistakes. We've showed decisions that we've made that we go back and look at. I mean, when you're hunting, there's a lot of things that happen on adrenaline, heat of the moment. Everyone gets done with the hunt and they're like, I should have, could have, would have done this different, and to made that happen. We'll never stop doing that. You'll never stop doing that.
Nope.
And we're willing to show that. Good decisions, bad decisions.
Because
things
anybody,
that we know.
Why are we gonna decide what other people can learn?
Right.
Let them see it all and let them figure it out.
Yeah. And by doing that, you have to be willing to
take some heat, I guess.
To take some heat, because
this one took some heat.
Yeah, we constantly take it. That's for sure. Yeah, it's just, I guess that part of it is what it is. But I think it's been rewarding going through things, not trying to hide anything. You know what I mean? Like it's
far less stressful. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, and you're just, it's just. There's no reason to.
You don't have to think about anything. You don't have to. You just do. You just document and you just do you.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about, oh, should this be here? Should this be, should this be in the shot? Should we keep this out? Should we, should we recreate this? Should we recreate that? It's like, no, it's all real time, live, how it happened. That's how you see it with us. That's just how we roll. I mean, and it's not knocking anybody else that does it a different way, but that's just what we've felt like we've held at the highest value. Ultimately, when we started Tag and Brag, Dean and I looked at each other and we were like, you know what? We're never going to shoot as many big bucks as Lee and Tiffany. That's a pretty far stretch. And we're never going to outproduce Heartland Bowhunter. That's also a pretty far stretch. Yeah. They're very good at what they do, and God bless both of them. They've influenced the crap out of us.
Everyone but us, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely us.
But what we can control is ourselves, our personalities, our work ethic, our integrity, and our authenticity that we go about things. And that's what's driven us up until this point, and that's going to drive us until Tag and Brag bursts into flames and becomes a meteorite in the atmosphere. Like, that's just what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's worked. It's worked.
Yep.
And it's like I said, it's been far less stressful because we don't sweat the small stuff, because the small stuff is what other people learn from.
Exactly.
From us.
I mean, yeah, it's just kind of going back to it, and you pick things out more as you're a videographer, and you go through that whole side of it. But, a lot of what happens on these hunting TV shows is, I'm not knocking everybody, but a lot of them are like, that's not what really happened. Or it was just a little...
It's a version of it.
A version of it, exactly. And it's just like that type of stuff. Like, so many people are watching that stuff and they're getting influenced by it. And you watch these shows and sometimes it makes it seem like it is easy. Or like, wow, it happens perfect like that every time. And granted, you're only seeing one of their hunts. But the point of showing us this kind of unscripted stuff, the reality of what goes on, is it doesn't matter how good you get at it. Shit's gonna hit the fan from time to time, and it's hunting. It's not for everybody. It's a crazy sport, and there's so many variables in hunting that you can't control. So it's never gonna be perfect. Like, you can call yourself a perfect hunter. I'm the almighty. I never make a bad shot like that. Bull crap. If you don't make a bad shot, you've taken 3 shots in your life.
Maybe 2.
Like, if you hunt a lot, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter who you are. It ain't gonna happen. Like, it just, there's too many variables. There's so many decisions that you got to make in such a short period of time when your adrenaline's going and this and that. And like I said, you're always gonna learn from it. We're always gonna go back. Doesn't matter how good you get, we're going to be like, man, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? Like, right. I didn't see him acting this way, or whatever it is. It's never going to be perfect. So to bash someone on a shot, or like, why would you do this or that? Like, there's always more to the story that It's kind of hard to judge on that.
Well, it's hard to judge. Yeah, exactly. It's hard to judge anyone. I don't know. I have a hard time judging anyone unless it's a situation where it was like, okay, you blatantly poached this animal.
Yeah,
you blatantly did something unlawful or whatever. Like, if it's legal and you did it and you're proud of it and you're hunting, I mean, I don't really. I kind of want to shake your hand or give you some knocks or chest bump you a little bit. I don't know what else to say.
And if you did make a bad decision or you messed up, let it teach you for your next hunt.
Well, and if it was a bad shot, you know what? Now all of a sudden, you're gonna sharpen a different tool in your hunting arsenal because it's a bad shot. Just because it's a bad shot doesn't mean we give up the opportunity. Doesn't mean we give up the animal. Doesn't mean we give up any of it.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden your hunt becomes completely different.
Yep.
You have to find that animal now. Your tracking skills have to be up to par. Your decision making in that instance is completely different, or maybe not say different, but your decision making in that moment now is challenged. Is crucial.
Yeah.
Is crucial to finding that animal, to not pushing that animal to more suffering.
Yeah.
And just to ending the story.
Yeah.
It's not just done as soon as you pull the trigger.
No.
I mean, we've seen so many hunts like that.
Yeah.
And
even when you think it's done.
Yeah, well, you think it's over. It ain't over yet.
No.
Like, and until you see that animal go down and stop moving.
Well, and sometimes that's not even done.
Sometimes that's
we've
not
had
even
that
the
happen
case
too.
Either. Right. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I'm so grateful that we grew up in a family that has put us into this hunting lifestyle, because it's the reason I'm the person I am today, and I know it's a major reason of the person that you are today. It's taught us so much about life.
Yep.
It's taught us valuing a life, which is important.
Yeah.
There's a lot of remorse that's felt when we shoot these animals.
Yeah.
In my heart, there is.
Especially when we're putting our blood, sweat, and tears into making the land better for them.
And you watch them year to year. I mean, Cartman this year, dude, like, I can't tell you, it was such a weird feeling in that stand, because, we watched this deer for 4 years.
Yeah.
That we knew
At
of.
least, yeah.
That we knew of. And he wasn't the biggest rack deer in the woods.
No.
He wasn't
but he was the dominant.
He was, this year. He was one of the dominant ones anyway.
But
when I saw that deer go down, and after the hunt, after the scenario that played out, and snort-wheezed that deer back to the tree, and, when he went down, it was like, shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's it.
That's the chase is over for now.
Like, this chase is over. Cartman is one of the bucks up in New York that we probably had the longest history with.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another one.
In our history. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, the Godfather obviously was well older,
but he didn't really live on our property.
But we didn't have that intimate history with him. I mean, we've got to have 20 plus encounters with Cartman.
Yeah, over the years. Oh,
easily.
100%. Yeah.
And trail camera videos and
he
photos.
He lived on our well, not only on, but yeah,
So that I'm like, I haven't had a feeling like that so much, because with Nipsey, we didn't see him go down,
Yeah.
Or I didn't see him go down. With some of the other deer that I've shot, recently, like, I didn't, you don't see those deer go down, so it's not like the finality of it all is not there until you get your hands on them.
Yeah, you don't feel
But when you watch them go down from the stand, it's done. It's over.
Yep.
Like, that's it. And
Right.
there's a lot to be celebrated in that moment.
Yeah.
But when you really respect that life, and when you really respect that animal so much, you kind of get sad a little bit.
Yeah. No,
and it's such a weird feeling.
You do. It's just, it goes back to, I don't remember who always talked about this. Maybe it was Waddell, but just so much how our focus is the chase.
Right.
Like, you think about that, and our end goal, the success, quote unquote, that you measure every time is always like when you put the tag on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just it's incredible that the whole journey to me is about the chase. Because like you said, when it's done, it's done.
It's done.
And I'm not. That doesn't mean a new one doesn't start, but we live every day to checking cameras and seeing these deer, studying them, seeing what they do. I mean, we just have this passion, and I at least speaking for myself specifically, is there's nothing more I like than just watching deer in general, but bucks grow from year to year and just seeing what they do, learning what they do, and following them. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because we're hunters by passion at heart, but like I'm an animal lover.
Oh
like,
my
that's
God, me too.
It's not just deer too. It's just all wildlife. Like my passion and goal when I'm in the woods is to make the woods better for wildlife.
Yeah.
That's end of story. Like I want all these animals. I want them all to flourish, so that you can chase one.
Right.
Because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to follow one, chase one. And it's just cool how it all. I mean, it's a crazy process how it all comes full circle.
Yeah,
in the end, and that end goal, it's like you said, it's almost bittersweet.
Right.
And it's also that's how life is. It all comes to an end at some point anyway. And the cool thing is that we try to, at least from a public land and everything's different, but managing these deer on your own property, you're trying to let them express all their potential. And you are able to watch them get as old as you can get them, so they're living life. And then if you're lucky enough to be able to harvest one, then obviously that puts the icing on the cake, if you will, and then it just opens up a new opportunity for a new chase. But
new chase, new chapter.
But yeah, it kind of goes back to the flack that the hunting industry can get for.
Well, I mean, and you realize, once again, we say it all the time, we're all in this together. The public land guys are hunting the public land, and we could sit here and say, well, they're not planting food plots. They're not providing the animals with really anything.
Right. They're not giving back to the land.
They're not necessarily giving back to the land. They're taking from it.
Yep.
But as a hunter, we all purchase tags, right?
Yep.
We all give our money in that respect, and that goes to the public land. Yep. So that we can have the opportunity to do this.
Right.
And it's, the public land it's there for the public. It's there for the people that don't have the resources to hunt the private land, or it's just there for for anybody to go and enjoy the chase.
Yep.
It's to enjoy the chase. But whether you're a public land, backpacking warrior, or whether you hunt 3 acres behind your house and you're sitting on a corn pile, like, I want to salute every single one of you.
Yeah.
I want to say we're all on the same damn team. We're all in this together. We all love this. Ultimately, at the core, we all love the same thing.
Exactly.
We all love and want the same thing.
Exactly.
So for the love of God, the next time you are thinking about writing something negative, don't. The next time you are thinking about making a bad comment, or like giving somebody shit for a bad shot, or giving somebody shit for a deer that wasn't to your standards, which doesn't fucking matter to them.
No.
Don't. Turn your energy around and say hi to somebody, or just smile at them, or leave a good comment.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with it or not, leave a good one.
Yeah.
And just see what happens.
See what happens.
See
how you feel.
See how you feel. See what happens in your life, and just see what happens. The hunting world, the world in general, will be a better place because of it.
Yep.
And that's really all I have to say.
Well well said. I don't know.
Let's shift gears a little bit. What do we got coming up next? I mean, what's today? It's mid-February right now. Kind of crazy. It's mid-February already. Like, all seasons are over with.
They're all over.
Well, I think there's a couple trickling down. I was talking to Mark Olis from Moultrie
down in
last
Alabama.
week at Arkansas.
And
he was in a tree. I think it was their last weekend, either this weekend maybe. So there's definitely seasons that are couple seasons maybe that are still coming to a close, but for the most part we're done, and it's
2022, 2023 is over. It's time to go start putting the boots on the ground,
finding some sheds,
whether you find them or not, because sometimes we Don't.
And then, I mean, then it's really starting to plan for food plots and maybe turkey hunting a little bit.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just
planning the fall.
Yeah, planning for the chase in the fall. It's a never-ending grind.
It really is. Start the next chase.
But it's just it never ends though. You know, like
No.
now it never.
Not if you have the passion.
The chase really never ends.
No.
You know, so that's the cool part of it. I mean, I'll be back down in Tennessee next week. I think the turkey seasons fire up early April down there, and Kentucky. Up here in Ohio and New York, it's a little bit later. But I mean, that's kind of the next like chase, I guess, that we're gearing up for.
Yeah.
Essentially, I do like turkey hunting. I got into it a lot more last year. Not even into it, but I just learned to enjoy it a little bit more last year. Like in years past, it has been about that end goal of like the success or just trying to figure out how to get a bird down. But dude, I mean, you go out there and, you know, especially in the spring when the foliage is light still, you know, you're learning a lot about deer too.
A lot about deer.
While you're out there, and just
waking up
with the world in the spring
is awesome. It's so vocal.
It is so vocal.
Yeah.
And you don't need anything but yourself and a gun and
serotonin overload.
Oh my gosh, it's insane. And so just embracing that aspect of it, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, you might be pissed off when your alarm goes off to turkey hunt because it's always so early. Like the sunrise is the earliest time of year.
You're right.
And so you never get a lot of sleep. You're always kind of pissed off at that point, but you never go hunt. Whether it's you can hunt the first hour in the morning, because a lot of people do, because it's so early. You can do it before work or whatever. But I've never gone out there and been like, why'd I do that?
That sucks.
Yeah, like I shouldn't have done that.
You're right.
Even, I mean, and half the time, more than half the time we go out, we don't even hear a gobble or something, but I'm still never like, why'd I do that?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Get ready for some Kodiak cakes.
Love it. You get back in from
the
hunting.
best part about turkey season, the best part about turkey hunting in general is breakfast.
Bar
none.
Oh, yeah. And the best thing is, too, you can go hunt for an hour, 2 hours, and you feel like you hunted for so long. You watch the world wake up, heard it wake up, and then you get back in. It's like 7 o'clock.
Yeah, you eat breakfast, and you're like,
what do I do now?
I got like an hour before I got to do anything.
If it's a weekend, you don't got to go to work. You're like, what now? But it's a cool time of year, too. But it just, again, it always revolves back to deer hunting in some way for us.
It always revolves.
You know,
back
even
to
right now, watching like cameras, we're trying to see what deer have lived through the season. You're already starting to like see like, oh, they might not even be around, but we're starting to say like, well, we could target this buck next year. Or hopefully he blows up or this and that.
It's insane.
But never ends. It's an addiction.
It sure is.
It's an addiction. I'm still waking up in the middle of the night and checking my phone for cell camera stuff, and I'm like, dude,
you can't chase them
seasons
until
are
next
over.
year.
Yeah,
you gotta chill out.
Maybe just sleep for like 6 hours straight and feel better in the morning.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I mean, I'm really looking forward to this whole new chapter with goose chasing. This was fun. We're sitting down in person for the first one, and maybe for the first couple here. But I'm looking forward to bringing more stories to light.
A lot of good topics.
Good topics, good memories.
Great memories.
Diving deeper into some of the hunts that y'all have watched over the years and just kind of talking about, I don't know, the mentalities, the thought processes, everything. I mean, we do have a lot of goose chases.
Yes.
That are present in what we've done and on our YouTube channel and on Facebook and stuff like that. And so talking about them, I mean,
we show a lot. Obviously, we don't hold anything back, but just getting our before and after perspectives of the hunt and like why we did certain things that you might not have seen on video. It's crazy. it sparks something back in us to just keep this. Yeah,
thing
it's
flowing.
the fuel. Yep.
And so part of it is self-loathing. For us is to just relive some of this stuff and keep this thing rolling. But we've got a lot more cool stories ahead. We got a lot more to talk about, and I'm excited for it. And in this new goose chase that we're on.
Yeah,
And the best part about it for me, I've said this all along, is bringing all of you along with us. That's the best part.
100%.
I enjoy it exponentially more because we get to enjoy it through all of you as well. So
that's why, I mean, yeah, again, we said this earlier, but that's why we do it.
Yeah.
Even you posted that video, not to get off topic, of you messing up on the buck we called Westbrook because the camera, you know, basically couldn't get the camera on him.
Right.
And these, you know, a couple comments come in, they're like, dude, like, just screw the camera, man. Just shoot the deer. And we're like, that's something that nobody will really understand.
And you wouldn't be making this comment if
you didn't do that. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's just, we're committed to it. And that's just the point of it, is to bring you all along and share those, share the journey and share the chase and share the story with us.
Well, yeah. And part of that hunt, that's a whole nother goose chase topic. But part of that hunt too, like, maybe the camera saved them, maybe it didn't. You know, it was a split second here or there. But to be able to show that, to say, hey, we're human too. Like, this shit is it. Like, just because we got a camera in our hands doesn't mean that 150s are dropping out of the trees.
No.
And every time we go into the woods,
that camera's saved a lot.
It's a celebration of success. Yeah, that's for sure.
Saved a lot of animals.
Yeah,
But yeah, looking forward to the next podcast number 2. We're going to keep this thing rolling and next topics. And this was good. This was fun.
Yeah,
didn't know how this was going to go, honestly.
Kind of let out some steam too. I feel better. I got a little less weight on my shoulders. Harping at the haters a little bit, I guess.
Exactly.
But if you guys go to Facebook, search Tag and Brag on Facebook, Team Tag and Brag on TikTok and Instagram, and Tag and Brag on YouTube as well. We'd love to hear your feedback. We'd love to have you watch some of our content and let you know what you think.
Leave positive comments.
Leave positive comments only. And we'll see y'all next week.
This was fun.
Peace.